Okay, this is my Tascam 112 that's listed on eBay and Reverb, and I've got it connected to my 1500A sound technology tape recorder test system. It's an old machine that was about the same era as the tape deck, and done quite a bit of work on the deck. I want to demonstrate a few of the testing procedures I used and highlight the really exceptional performance of the deck. If the video doesn't run too long, I might include some of the other features and some of the things that I particularly like about the deck. But yeah, so this is a vinyl protector. I'm trying to stay out of the way. I'm not much of a videographer. This is just a vinyl protector here that I put on after I cleaned up the face of that, and so it'll ship with that. I'm just going to leave that on there. When I touch it and stuff, I don't want to get fingerprints on it. So, all right. So I've got a speed test cassette in there. This is an old RCA 3 kilohertz test, and the first thing I want to do is I want to run the wow and flutter test, or the flutter test, on this machine. I'm going to start the tape. I've got it hooked up to the speaker so you can hear a little bit of it. I'll try not to make it too irritating. Start the tape, and then I'll start the inputs on the analyzer. And it takes about 10 seconds for it to average it. And here we are right here. The numbers, you can see them. I'm focused on that screen, not on the cassette deck, so you should be able to see them. The numbers are in the 0.4 range to the 0.5 range. It's hovering around 0.5, and that's really good. The spec on the deck is 0.04. Of course, there's a new belt on it, but I was unable to find a factory belt, and so this isn't quite as good as factory belt would be, but it's really close, and I think it's inaudible. Alright, so I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to switch over to a speed test and start that. Same tape, still running, and you can see up here again it's showing plus 0.03%, plus 0.707%, 3%, 7%. It's very stable. What that basically comes down to is, if you figure 0.7% of 3000 kilohertz, that's going to be about 1.4 hertz high. So it's good, and I like to run them just a little bit on the high side. I don't like to get them at 0, because if you have a tight tape, anything like that, an old tape that doesn't feed well, different things like that, I'd rather have them be neutral or slightly sharp than a little bit flat. So that's that. It passes that fine, and it did that really well. I think what I'll do next is a frequency response test, and I'm going to use a TDK CD Power 110-minute tape that I actually picked up at a yard sale this summer. It's a good tape. It tests well, and it's probably pretty close to the TDK SA that I biased it at. I can't find that tape right this minute, so I'm using the next best thing I have. Alright, I'm on chrome tape. What I'll do on this frequency response test is, I have to set a reference up. I'm going to pause this for just a second and set the reference. Okay, I just had to set the levels there quickly, and I'll explain it while I'm doing it here. Alright, so we're starting recording, we're starting the outputs and the inputs, and you should be able to see right here a trace starting on the scope. And what that is the frequency. I'm turning it up here so you can hear it. It's the frequency sweep running through the electronics of the deck and back into the analyzer. You'll have the right channel on top, left channel on bottom. I do this watching it because what I've noticed in the past is all the decks I've analyzed that I've thought sounded the best, they always had an extended frequency response, much more beyond the 20 kilohertz that we can hear. Same way that reel-to-reel does, same way that a vinyl record does. Some of the less expensive decks, the dual wells, that sort of thing, they don't have even the ability to get up to 20 kilohertz. And so that's just what I've found. I like the sound of the ones, and when I've tested them and looked at this, that's what I've seen. I've seen that extended frequency response. This last line here is 20 kilohertz. The deck will go up to, the analyzer will go up to 40. The very bottom is 20 hertz. It's approaching that now, and when it gets there it'll stop, and we'll stop this and rewind it. It'll go back to its 0, and you can see we're right at about 0. I mean minus 20 dB, which is correct. Okay, so now we're going to let the tape be analyzed from the deck, and we'll do that by starting the tape and then starting the inputs. And now you'll see the actual trace from the tape, from the recording we just made on the tape. And you can see it starts right here, right on that 20 kilohertz mark. And in fact, you can see two more here at 21 and 22. So it's actually putting usable signal on the tape at 21 up to 22 kilohertz. It's way down, it's way attenuated, but it's there. So this is 20, this is 1,000, and at the very bottom is 20 hertz. And this particular series and this deck specifically has very good low frequency response, much better than its big brother, the 122. Okay, so there's the trace on the right channel, left channel starting now, coming up about the same way. And what we're seeing here is that on the right channel at 20 kilohertz, it's about 5 dB down. On the left channel, it's about the same. At 18.5, which is the next step on this machine, on both of them, it's way better than the 3 dB, plus or minus 3 dB that the spec is on the deck. So we'll just let it finish up, and you can also see on the base end at 20 kilohertz, it's not even down 3 dB. All right. So I'm going to run the cursor down to 20 dB. I mean, yeah, 20 hertz. I'm going to go 21 here because or 22. And you can see here minus 22.4, minus 22.8. That's below the 3 dB threshold of the spec. So, and it's actually at 25. The spec is at 25 on this deck, and I'm looking at it at 22. It's about the same. So it exceeds the spec on the base end. We'll go up here to the high end just to get it up. I'm going to take it up to a little hard to do reaching over there. There's 17.5. I got that one okay. 17.5 kilohertz, minus 19 dB and minus 20 dB. This is way within spec. I think I can point out the 20 here. Okay, 20. I'm only down 4 dB here and 4.8 dB there. So the frequency response on the deck is exceptional. Alright, the thing that I think I'll do next, maybe I'll do a distortion test on it. I think I can only do one channel at a time. No, I can do both channels on that. Alright, so I'll put a pre-distorted tape in there. This is Yanni live at the Acropolis. I think that's sufficiently distorted. And that's going to be a normal tape, type 1. So we'll pick a third order distortion. I have to do the same thing. I have to lay down the track on the tape and then go back and replay it. So we'll start it with starting the recording. Start the outputs. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I want to do manual. Alright, I'll just reset that right there. Start the outputs. Start the inputs. And what we'll be seeing here is, of course, the electronics of the deck. I'm just going to get that right exactly at 0 as much as I can. It was not even a third of a dB out. So the distortion signal going through the deck is running 0.01%, and there's the noise floor basically. We'll just let that run for a second. That's good enough. Rewind it. Start it up again. Now we'll listen to and measure the actual distortion from the tape through the electronics measured on the analyzer, and it's in the 0.6 range, both channels, 0.61, 0.67, 0.7 range. The spec on the deck is 1.0 at 0 dB, and so it's exceeding that spec also. Alright, let me just stop that. One of the things I really want to try to maybe zoom in on, and maybe I'll do this, I don't think this video is running terribly long, I think it's okay. I want to highlight how well this transport handles tape. It's extremely quiet, it's a single capstan deck, and those are inherently gentle on tapes, but this also has very low take-up torque and back tension, and probably the lowest specs I've ever seen. I did check it on this deck, and it's within spec, and it's actually on the low side of the spec. And so the point of that is, if you were archiving old tapes that might be brittle, that sort of thing, this will handle those tapes, I think, the best of any deck. Okay, I don't know that this will work or won't work, but I want to try and show the actual numbers on this. This is a torque cassette. It probably won't translate to eBay after they've done all their compression and everything on it, but I'm going to try it anyway. So you're looking at the two numbers. I see 50 on the right side and about 3 on the left side. I'll let it run here for a minute. So this is measuring the take-up torque and the back tension on the deck. The spec, it's within spec, and it's pretty much about the lowest I've ever seen on a deck. So that's just demonstrating how really well these handle it. Okay, I'm going to put this 110-minute tape back in because these are notoriously poor handling tapes, and what I want to do is just show the quietness of the transport. You'll probably notice the button noise more than you notice the actual transport. It's just exceptionally well designed, and yes, I've rebuilt it or serviced it completely with new modern lubricants and so forth, and that's a big help too, but it's the design is the biggest part of it. Alright, so I'm just going to go through these and be quiet so you can listen to it. See, that's instant rewind and forward line. Beautiful handling. I'm going to go right into play. Instant, no noise. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to actually try to press these buttons really softly, so you'll see what I mean. Absolutely quiet. This deck has, of course, a cue function, so you can find where you're looking at on the tape. Let me turn this up. If you're looking for a spot, if you're doing dictation or transcribing, that sort of thing, and that's a helpful thing. It's just beautifully designed and beautifully made. Most of it is metal. There are very few plastic parts in the deck. Should last a long time. Alright, well, I think that's probably all I want to show. I think the tape's probably getting long enough. So again, it's on eBay. Look at all the photographs in the description part, not just the original, the main listing. They compress those images and they limit the amount that I can put on there. If you look in the description, there will be higher quality images and more of them. Some of it will be detailing some of the disassembly and reassembly and some of the work that was done. So yeah, thanks for watching, and please contact me if you have any questions. Look in eBay or on my contact page. Thank you.